The Big Al Podcast with your host, Al Bishop, unfiltered and uncut.
So, Mr. Grant Oliff, what's happening, sir?
Yeah, good to be back, eh? Lots of things are happening, lots of things are happening.
I see. There's a lot of things happening with you guys. There's movement with the World Series of Fighting. You guys just announced today another pro signing, Jean Libber. So, and you've also announced the main fight for the next Fightstar, and you've also changed venue. So, give us an update. What's happening there?
We've been busy, We've been busy, just, sleep when you're dead, I heard. But, so we're moving venue. We've got a great venue out in Benoni. It's a big venue. So we're looking to fill it, but it's an awesome venue. It's got an upstairs gallery that will look over the cage. It's really nice, and we're excited about that. So we're expecting the guys from the East Rand to pull through and really make a big statement for us. We signed Jacques Libber. I started speaking to Jean. I started speaking to Jean last year. He was chatting with the EFC. He was chatting with us, and they phoned me 2 days ago and said to me, "We've made a decision. We want to come to Fightstar." So we met them last night. Him and his manageress, and we told him what Fightstar's about, and he says he wants to fight, and we asked him when does he want to fight, and he said as soon as possible. So I phoned Tyron Rightfoot down in the Cape, and I said to him, Giovanni Pretorius still looking for a fight. He was actually on the card already, and unfortunately Josh Miller pulled out. And I said, I've got a fight for him, Jean Libber, and he said, hell yes. What, as I said in the press statement, what a barn burner. And I think it's going to be an incredible fight. I think, Giovanni Pretorius trained with me at World of Warriors for many years when Tyron went down to Cape Town, and he's got great stand-up, and so has Jean. So I think just that fight alone, I would pay to go and watch, Sure. And it's going to be an awesome fight with two experienced guys. Both of them are ex-EFC fighters, so they've both got pro records, and they're fighting. But the beauty about Fightstars is that it's not only about the oldies; it's about the new guys. And the main fight, or the co-main event, we've labelled it as Steven Gonzalez and Marcel else, and I'm a betting man, and I don't know where to put my money. I must tell you, I'm at a situation where we're going now, after this, we're going to watch Steven train. I watched Marcel train the other night. I'm like, Steven's going to have problems. But I can tell you now, Steven spent his December in Thailand training.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. And there's a lot riding on this fight. Like you said, World Series are coming. They've asked us for dates to host a show this year. We're part of the World Cup. They've actually asked me for my 5 top names to put through, which I'm busy doing now. And it's quite a scary thing, because there's a lot riding on this fight. There's a hell of a lot riding on this fight for these two guys. And, that's what... and I've said it before. I think I said it on the show. I'm a super fan. I want to put on the best fights possible, and it's quite easy to try and get Marcel and Steven to avoid each other. But hell, I want to see who's the best athlete, And there's a lot at stake. There's a lot riding for them. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be an awesome night, and. With us, we've always got surprises up our sleeve.
Yeah.
I've got another little surprise if I can bring it down onto the table. It's also going to blow people's minds, so I'll leave that one lying. But the main card is crazy. I've got a heavyweight title fight. I've got Dwayne Meredith and Kevin Kukumua, which is going to be absolutely insane. Dwayne's got good, strong ground. So is Kevin. They both like to stand and trade. They've both been preparing. We signed that fight in December, so they've been preparing for it. Both camps are telling me they're right. I've got the featherweight title fight with Nkosi, the future, fighting Albert Steyn from Guts and Glory. Oh man, we've got some great fights again. It's really getting exciting, and I'm trying to finalize this card, and everyone keeps phoning me and going, "Can I also have a go? Can I also have a go?" So, I said to Fadi today, we might start the fight card at about 2:00 just to get through it, because there's probably about 40 guys that want to fight. So it's exciting times.
Okay, so have you settled on a number of fights on the card?
No, not yet. No.
21 going on 50.
We might do it at a 2-day event. I don't know. No, I must tell you, I went to House of Tinkerbell. So what Fightstars have started doing, or what the guys from what the management team of Fightstars started doing, is we started going to the gyms and we're starting to look for the up and coming talent. So we were in Springs last week, and we visited JP and the guys at House of Tinkerbell. And there was a youngster that caught my eye there, name of Gift Walker, 17-year-old kid. And immediately I just want to see how this guy does. I watched him train. I just think, sure, for a 17-year-old kid, he's got a lot of talent. And so we finalized his fight today. He's going to be fighting one of Peter de Klerk's guys, also an awesome talent, 17-year-old junior. So my junior fights are going to be really, really great. Team Angola wants to send 6 guys from Angola now. Not only guys and girls. So yeah, I haven't finalized the number of fights yet, but sure, it's there's a lot going on in my head at the moment.
Sure. Okay, so we'll wait to kind of see what happens with the card. The venue. Just give us a little bit more about the venue, because that's obviously changed from a long time you were in Primrose, eh?
Yeah. We've been in Primrose for 3 years now, which has been really great. But it's kind of time for us to start moving around. And I spoke about it last time. It's not that we're unhappy with that venue. We'll go back to that venue, I'm sure. But we're looking for different venues. We want to start moving this show around, and we need to start getting it out to more fans. That's our focus this year. Is we want to try and build our fan base. So we looked at it. A lot of our support comes from the guys in Boksburg, Benoni, the East Rand side of it. Not to say that the rest of Joburg doesn't support, but a lot of the bigger clubs that are fighting on Fightstar are coming from that side of town. So we went out and we looked for venues, and we found the John Barrable Hall, which is it's an amazing venue. It really is an amazing venue. It's a massive hall. Probably can fit about 2,500 people in that place, seated. And as I say, there's an upstairs gallery which is really awesome, which has got about 400 seats.
That upstairs.
Upstairs, okay, that you'll just look straight down onto that cage. And we're looking at it. We've actually booked quite a few dates with them for the year. We had to book up front, and we've booked quite a few of our dates. Unfortunately, the association has created a bit of a headache for us and moved a couple of our dates, which is fine. There's other promotions that need to promote on those days, I suppose, but a bit frustrating for us. But we've booked quite a few dates of this, so we're exciting. We're looking at building in that area. We also, as I said last time, we're looking at traveling. So we've got potentially 2 shows that we're going to go Cape Town, and it looks like we're going to go to Bloemfontein. That will be our travel for this year. Maybe we'll throw in our old Polokwane again, and we're going to move around Joburg, and we'll have one in Pretoria. Probably November card will be in Pretoria. We're just busy negotiating with the venue at the moment. So we're starting to take the promotion out and move it around. We're looking for good venues. We're looking for good places. We're looking for good deals. We we bring 1,000 people to our shows. It's not Mickey Mouse; it's a proper show, and the venues are that are out there must be looking for people. And so we're looking to take it to different places.
And how many shows are you looking at doing this year?
So we've booked 10 dates. We've had 2 of our dates cancelled by the association. I think it was 2 of our dates moved or cancelled. A couple of our actual dates moved where we playing around and looking. But we want to try and do 10 shows. We want to try and do. There's a big question in our mind. The World Series are coming to do a stage of the World Cup. And I'm waiting for them to tell me they either want to come in June or September. And if they're going to come in June, we're probably going to build up to June to make sure that we're ready and we can do it. If they come in September, we'll do a few in between. So, it's very frustrating at the moment because you get told to put your dates forward for the year. And then you get an email, a calendar back. They moved our March the 11th date to March the 18th, and no one even told us. We started getting phone calls from the clubs. Has the show moved? Had a bit of a blowout with Batis, the president of MMA South Africa, about just moving dates. And I understand from their point of view, there are other promotions that want to do shows. But it just seems a little bit, really, guys. You don't want 2 promotions on the same night. But if you look at the calendar, the dates that they've moved us, and they haven't moved EFC around. We're on the same nights as EFC, so we have to play with our dates. So it's kind of. We feel like we're sucking the hind tit at the moment, which is frustrating because, again, I believe we're doing a lot for the sport and we're doing a lot to grow and develop and things like that. And sometimes you just want the association to get behind you and back you instead of just making your life difficult. And you often see me on social media saying I'm jumping through hoops. Let me tell you, in the last 3 or 4 months, I've jumped through hoops. I've been sneaky, and people laugh at me when I tell them what I did to make sure that I got my fights approved last time, and it's stupid. It shouldn't be like that. In my mind, we need to be working positively together. And I'll probably get a mouthful for saying what I've just said, but it's frustrating. It feels like you're fighting against everyone on all angles. Sure. And it shouldn't be. You should be working. Everyone should be working to try and make it happen. And so, what if there are 2 promotions in Joburg on the same night? Let the best promotion draw its people. We spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money making sure that we do things correctly. And just to get dates thrown in our face and get told everyone else also got moved. We're not everyone else, and that's my attitude. And maybe it's arrogant, but we're not everyone else. We are Fightstars, and we are the premier promotion, and we expect to be treated like that, And that's what I wanted to get across to them. It didn't come out quite like that, and he took offence. And anyway, we got our date on the 11th, and I'm happy that we didn't have to fight for it because we would have fought for it.
Sure. Do you not think that something like that would, in essence, like stretch a smaller club if they've got, say, a fight on both cards?
Sure, it would. But again, at the end of the day, the guys are asking for shows, and if everyone says to me, you need to do more shows, you need to do more shows, you need to, we're asking to do more shows and getting told we can't do it when we want to do it. What's the issue? Why? I listened to you and Richie chatting the other day, and Richie wants more shows, and one of his comments really, it still sat with me. You shouldn't be doing it for the money. And it's like, we're not doing it for the money, but we're also doing this. This is a business, And at the end of the day, if we're not making money, we're not going to be doing shows anymore. So what happens if your promotions fall away at that level? it's even worse off than where you are. So in order to make it viable, we've decided to do extra 5 shows this year, smaller shows, cut the costs, cut the lights, cut everything, and just try and promote. And that's where we're getting shot down. There's not enough space in the calendar to do extra shows. And I'm saying, well, that's crazy. It is crazy, you know?
Yeah, that definitely sounds a little bit crazy. I mean, surely also with the EFC securing Saturdays for their slots would also open up a Friday night, a Thursday night. I understand, obviously, a Thursday night's risky, but if you're going to do a smaller show, it makes more sense.
It's very tough to do a Thursday night because, remember, these guys work, eh?
Sure.
So now, they've got to take leave and they're not professionals. They're not getting paid for this. So, when the EFC did Thursday nights, the guys get paid for it. They get paid to fight. So they can take leave and even that was difficult. But now when you're running an amateur show, to ask a guy to give up his job for that afternoon or that day because he's got to get off early to come and fight. Possibly the next day as well.
Sure, fair enough.
He's got it. So it's very difficult. But there are things. But you also need the people to be able to come through and watch the shows because as much as it's great to do shows for free, it's not viable.
Yeah.
Where can you do? There's no venues that will say to me, oh well, you know what, we'll give it to you for free. Plus, then you've got staff, you've got cage, there's expenses, and if you're not selling tickets, you're not paying for your shows, and if you're not selling tickets, you don't want to do this again. It's a lot of work to put on a show, and it's a lot of effort, and at the end of the day, unfortunately. It's kind of like asking guys, well, why don't you just train all your athletes for free? Why do you charge people gym memberships? So as much as we want to support the gyms and help grow the gyms and things like that, we need the gyms to support the promotions. So yes, with extra shows has come down to extra, and there's new promotions that are out there, and that are talking about coming out, and the new promotions have got new dates. It's exciting times in MMA. The big difference for me is that, or the big thing for me in this year's calendar is that by wanting to grow the promotion, we kind of got put back and said, well, you know what, we did this to all the other promotions, so you must just deal with it. And it's like you didn't do it to all the other promotions because the big promotion, EFC, doesn't give a rat's ass about where your where the other, they don't care when Fightstars is, and rightly so. They're the biggest promotion, so I need to move my date and make sure that I'm not trying to compete with the biggest promotion. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm not going to get fighters to come and fight because the clubs are not going to be able to make it. So you've got to have your correct dates. You've also got to have a good date around about month end time when people have money in their pocket so that they can come and spend money. So it's a business, and at the end of the day, there's a lot that goes into promoting and to making sure that the people come out and watch. The guys don't want to also compete in an environment where it's a gym environment well, maybe they do. I don't know. Then I'm in the wrong business. I like to do a good promotion, and I like to have lots of people, and I like for when the guys to walk out, there's spectators cheering and things like that. Sure. Otherwise, what's the point? Isn't that why they're competing? They want to prove to the people out there and to themselves what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Grant. Look, I agree with you on a lot of it. I think it's very strange for me that they're not, you're being blocked at certain dates and stuff like that. I think obviously there's the association has a couple of things they've got to keep in mind. I suppose in their defense, they're probably also learning and figuring out a couple of things. But look, I think 2017 is going to be a very interesting year. 100%. I think it's a lot of things are going to happen.
And by all means, let me tell you something. This association that is currently running is the best association that I've been involved in MMA for a long time. This is the best association that we've had. Okay? And they do a lot of good things. It's frustrating some things that they do, and that's all I'm saying. It's not a case of, I don't think, and a lot of people will get on their high horses now and say this and that, and I think Bertus is doing a great, and Raymond are doing a great job in promoting the sport and doing it. I just really, really, really left a bad taste in my mouth that they weren't prepared to sit with the promoters and with the bigger promoters and go, I didn't even get the email that the dates have changed. They didn't bother consulting the people. It's like having a booking anything and your car in for service, and the guys just, you pitch up there and it's changed. They didn't even inform you, and that's why I'm irritated about it. But I'm not slagging them off. As I say, the association needs to develop and needs to grow, and they need to move forward. But they need to do things. They need to do things to grow the sport as well. With regards to, yes, you are the big promotion, so we need to make sure that maybe you get the lion's share, and that's how it works in life. I'm afraid, if you're a smaller promotion, maybe that's where you need to sit. It's just my opinion, If I was a smaller promotion, would I want to be on the same night as a Fightstar? No, I wouldn't. Same as a Fightstar doesn't want to be on the same night as an EFC.
Sure.
Obviously.
Cool. Let's look at the WSOF. There's a lot of things happening there. Obviously, there's a talk of this World Cup. Can you just explain what the World Cup is and what it means for you, like from the WSOF? I know there's a floating around. It's like almost like a fighter exchange program. Is that correct? So each, basically, if I understand correctly, each affiliate to WSOF will exchange 4 fighters at any given time. Yeah. But there's a few intricacies involved there.
So they've been working on this, and we've been talking about World Series fighting, and every press conference I've done after Fightstars, the guys have given me a really hard time. Oh, this and this, and it's here. So the format that they've come out is they start in the obviously the World Cup, and it is exactly that. It's a fighter exchange program. It's really, really an amazing opportunity for athletes to go and fight now, and to fight internationally, and to fight internationals on a local scene. So how it's working is Fightstars is going to put forward fighters to go. They're going to go and fight internationally. Fightstar is going to pay the fighters' purses when they fight internationally. The World Series is going to pay for the travel and for the accommodation, and on the other promotions, going to obviously pay for their athletes. So what that means for Fightstars is we can now bring international athletes over at no cost to our promotion, which means we can start having our guys fighting against the best in the World Series, and hopefully the best in the world soon, at no cost. When I look at bringing international fighters over, it just rises. And I was speaking yesterday about it. We want to bring someone from the UK over to fight. I'm looking at a bill of 30,000 rand, Sure. Then I'm thinking to myself, sure.
And he's staying at the Protea Hotel at the airport.
We were going to do the Formula One, but for this point of interview, let's say the Protea Hotel. Then I'm looking and saying, well, if I'm prepared to spend 30,000 rand on one athlete, should I not rather be investing that into my local talent? And that's my dilemma I've got. So it's kind of been a catch-22. I can bring guys. Trust me. This morning I got an email of another 9 Brazilians that want to come. We can bring them. It's about the costs. Do you want to spend 30,000 rand on one fight for one athlete when you basically saying to your other guys, it's tough, this is your fight purse. We don't pay the biggest fight purses. Everyone's aware of that. So for me, it's a case of I'd rather spend the 30,000 rand on our guys.
Sure.
Developing our guys and trying to bring our talent in and wait. And it's paid off now, because now I don't have to spend the money. We can still fight. I got to pay my guys when they go overseas, but that's cool. I'm happy with that, because that's what I promised them.
Yeah.
I promised them a road overseas. They bought into our dream, and now it's true. It's going to happen, and it's happening now. We're talking about June or September in South Africa. I'm waiting for the confirmation, and in the meantime, I think Spain's the first one that's going. The guys are going to go and fight. So it's happening now. It's exciting. It's going to be crazy. And Yeah, everything we've been trying to wait for and holding out for is happening, and I think they've got it right. You know, it makes sense for us as an affiliate now to be part of this program and to work. We've been working with a lot of promotions though, and we've opened a lot of doors. So you know, this gives us an opportunity to hold on to our guys just that little bit longer. You know, we've been in talks with Brave for Rudy Roots.
Yeah,
and we've held off because although the contract in the fight purse and that seems good, we're not happy as a management, because we do act as a management company for a lot of the guys, with certain clauses in their contract, and you know, we want really to fight the best people in the world, and that's great. Brave's an awesome organization, and it's fantastic, and we'll be sending athletes there. There's no doubt about it. But we also want them to understand that it's about the athlete being able to move on when he's ready to move on. And that's my big thing, is that a lot of these bigger promotions are trying to hold back and trying to keep their property. And you know, I don't look at athletes as my property. They're not my property. You know what I mean? Sure. They're their own property. So with Rudy, we're still negotiating with Brave. He was supposed to fight now in Brazil, but he's not going to fight now in Brazil.
Okay.
So hopefully, if it comes through, the next one, if he goes to Brave, and I think Brave's a great opportunity for him. I think it's awesome. And if not, he'll have an international fight soon anyway. He'll be fighting in the World Series, World Cup. You know, if he goes to Brave, he's gone. He's off to Brave, and he's started his international path.
Yeah.
And that's what Fightstar is about, is trying to create those opportunities to move them on.
Cool. And how are you concerned with the World Series of Fighting at all? Because there's obviously a lot of stuff going on there. There's people are being sued left, right, and centre. Something else came out on Monday that there was they weren't sure something was lodged, and they weren't sure if they were changing entities or assets were being bought, or the WSOF in fact was actually stopping as a promotion. So are those things causing you guys any stress?
Not at all, because what's actually, I mean, originally the original deal and the original company that was signed was World Series of Fighting Global. So they've been under investigation for World Series, been under investigation for a while for other tax obligations, or I don't know, other business ventures that they've been involved in and things like that. And Vince, who's the owner of World Series Global, and that's why he set it up like that. It's World Series of Fighting Global is actually a completely separate company, an entity and promotion to the American-based World Series. The focus of their promotion is really to build international fighters and to create platforms for to scout for talent. So it doesn't actually affect us at all. You know, it would be great. It would be absolutely amazing if we could get someone that goes through fights at Fightstars, fights at World Series affiliate, let's say Spain, Japan, and then gets to fights in Vegas. That would be amazing, and that would be everyone's goal. However, whether it happens or not doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, we just trying to open doors and create different opportunities for these guys. So as long as they're getting international exposure and fighting on a world circuit, there are new promotions opening up, not only in South Africa, and the new European promotions open up mega bucks. You know, they immediately have contacted us looking for athletes. You know, so all of a sudden, 2 years ago when we started negotiations and we started looking, there was no one. No one was interested. No one was interested in South African fighters. Now all of a sudden, you know, 2 nights ago I was on the phone with Bellator. They're looking for guys for 1-fight contracts, and you've got promotions that are now starting to go, we don't want to hold guys into long-term contracts because it creates problems. We're looking for just guys that can fill cards and can fight. And that's where we are at the moment, let's be honest. We're looking for, in South Africa, we're looking to get our guys onto different fight cards. Everyone is. FFM are overseas at the moment, trying to get onto many different promotions. There's not one club in this country that's not looking to try and get overseas at them. There's not one athlete in this country that's not looking to try and get onto an international fight card. And that's how the sport is developed. It's as simple as that, is that we want to go and fight overseas. The guys, Brave, are taking athletes at the moment. They're looking, they're growing. They've only done 2 shows, so they're looking to grow into the big promotion. And the nice thing with Brave is they've got lots of money. So when you've got lots of money, you can do whatever you want, I suppose. You can buy whoever you want. You can have Frankie Edgar as your commentator, It's great. I wish we could, you know what I mean? We can only afford Edgar Frank. But, that's what it's about. It's about going where you're going to get the most exposure. And that's my job, is to make sure that the athletes that are on the Fightstar roster go somewhere where they get the most exposure. Okay. And that's where we got to go. You got to build fights, though. You got to build a record. Yeah. So sometimes you got to go and fight in the barn in Spain, and in the back streets of Brazil. But it's about building records.
Yeah, just on that, just made me think of Shane Carr. He was saying to me that he feels that his amateurs will only they must have, like, say 15, 20 fights before he even considers them to turn pro. So I think it makes sense to me, because it's a lot of adjusting. It's getting a lot of experience. Like, I think the game is so fickle. When you go pro, you got to make it happen straight away. Yeah. So it's the same thing in essence, and I agree with you 100%. I just want to quickly go through WSOF's current list of violations that they've been investigated for. Fantastic. So they're all very business orientated. There's no, like, it's the first one is a master licensing agreement between Asia and something else. Then there was a security agreement, like at an event, non-payment of rent, whatever that would have been for, something to do with a bridge loan amongst partners, a domain purchase, and a ownership stake of 1.5%. So it's very it seems like very nitty-gritty business details between partners and strange things like that. So it's not really affecting what the outcome is.
It's not affecting us at all. And again, as I said to you, the owners of World Series Global, which is a completely separate company, actually, I don't even think Vince is part of World Series anymore because of this. So, I must tell you, there's a lot of promotions and there's a lot of promoters out there that are, a little bit dodge. So one or two, and you just have to take the good with the bad and things like that. But again, World Series of Fighting Global was a spin-off of this, and that's how they got. They used the name to create the platform. Okay. So the guys that we are dealing with are actually not involved in this at all, and cool. We've been aware of it for a long time. It has no effect on us.
Okay, cool. Then there was something you mentioned last year, and in this, all the talk about the WSOF and the World Cup and everything that's happening, and like we've discussed, the fight exchange, there were a couple of things I picked up on there, and you mentioned it last year. The one was the streaming of the event. So is that going to be happening now? Is Fightstar
11th of March we streamed our last show. We didn't tell anyone because we didn't know if we could get it right.
Sure.
We got it right. We didn't have sound for half the night. Then we got sound. And I actually had an argument with a guy in Japan while the fights were going on, because he was telling us how useless Africa is. And anyway, we streamed last time. We didn't tell anyone. We streamed onto Facebook. We streamed onto their platform and that. But, the show will be streamed live. It'll be streamed live onto the World Series of Fighting platform. And it'll be streamed, obviously, worldwide.
Okay, and will it be like on a pay-per-view type of setup?
So that they're doing is a subscription-based. I think it's $9.99 per month. And you get to watch 22 different promotions worldwide, including Deep and Eternal and Ice. So it's a global strategy that they've got. Everyone comes. So we're going to have, and I've noticed it already. I mean, our Facebook lately is going crazy, and it's a lot of international interest, a lot of international fighters and things like that. So it's definitely a global network that people are going to get viewed on, and it's great. Again, it's that kind of exposure that we're looking for, and that kind of exposure that you want when you pick up the phone and you're phoning the guys overseas and you're asking them about athletes, and they just, South Africa. You kind of think, yes, you guys, we smash you in rugby. Come on, and let us just give us a chance, So it is difficult at the moment, but it's getting there, And I think with extra exposure, and I believe our athletes are the best. I really do. I don't think I don't think that anyone's much better than us on any given day. So let's see. We're going to start doing it, and it is about the exposure.
Cool. And will anything else change with the streaming? Will there be like commentary teams going forward and stuff?
Yeah,
like that?
We're busy working on that at the moment. It's quite intimidating, to be honest with you. We're running some tests. We've actually produced our first TV show. The guy phoned me now. It's ready. We're going to do voiceovers. So we're going to go and test on doing our first TV episode, our first show. Now we're going to go and do some commentary, and but we're going to have live commentators, and that's where we're going to get Edgar Frank, I think, to come and commentate. And it's quite intimidating because this Fightstar promotion has always been done hands on by myself, Pietro, and Sean, and we do everything, and I can't commentate, which is going to be really irritating, but we're going to have to trust someone to do it. And we're going to test and interview, and
it's taking up a big step. It's definitely a big step.
Yeah, we're going to have to run a live show, basically. And again, I've watched a lot of the global partners shows, and they run a lot like Fightstar, so I'm not too phased about it. There's no TV ads and things like that we have to worry about at the moment. But watch the space, it's coming. And that's all I'm saying, is that we are starting to prepare for it.
Okay. And any other big signings on the horizon that you can tell us about? You want to.
Yes, I want to, but I'm nervous too, because you know me, I like to line things up, and we've in the last 2 weeks, I think I've had 8 top athletes contact me. The guys are nervous, and they want to go, but they're nervous about the situation, and I think when we start moving the guys overseas and the guys start fighting here, and doing it this morning, I was on the line with an ex-fighter that's been out for a while that wants to get back into it, and for me it's great because these guys like Jacques and Jean, they offer so much, and yes, we are there to develop talent, make no mistake. But like I said, when we were here with Jacques Chabert, I spoke to a youngster at Tap Out Academy, and I said to him, you're in the same weight division as Jacques Chabert now, eh? And he was like, if I could fight that oak, it would be amazing. I think to become a legend, you got to beat a legend, and these guys are legends in the MMA history, and for me, it's important that they give back, and every single one of them that I've spoken to is happy to give back and to help the sport grow, and that's what it's about. Are they going to get opportunities to fight overseas? Of course. Why not? Do they fill crowds? Yes. Do they fill the shows? Yes, they do. Are they great names? Yes. It's what we grew up fighting with, you know what I mean, and fighting. So we're looking at it. But, there's a couple of new signings that we've taken. We want to set their fights up first and let them get into it. But there's exciting times ahead for us. We are driving out today. I felt a little bit like, I'm running without my head on today. But
Sure.
it is like that at the moment. It's fantastic. It's moving. It's growing. It's the whole sport is just growing, and that's what it's about. Everything's just getting bigger and better, and people are engaging more and things like that. And I think we can definitely see it. I really do.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a good thing. I think you guys are on the right track. And if we can say these legends coming back, I think it provides the youngsters for a good opportunity. If one of them manages to notch up a win against such a big name, it just propels their career a little bit. You know what I mean? And if an overseas promotion is looking at your stats, they'll see, look, okay, this guy beat this guy who fought in the EFC for X amount of years. And I think it helps because even Chef was saying to me, his dealings with the UFC, they looked back at his record and had a loss to Ron Potts, and that in the end affected him getting a UFC contract, which is very unfair because I don't think it's a fight game, anything can happen, so it's tough to judge someone on a win or a loss like that, but it definitely helps. So on the reverse side, if you've won
100%.
So if some youngster from Tap Out comes and pulls off a big win against a big name like that, all of a sudden everyone wants to know who he is, so it's providing good opportunities. It's giving those guys the older guys a new route, maybe a career that was shut down prematurely because of opportunities and stuff like that. So it's a good thing, it's nice to see. And every time I like you guys announce something bigger, I like to see it because everything seems to be quite innovative and intuitive. Sorry, you guys are really trying to make good headway, what I mean? And I don't think there's too many people that are doing it, to be honest. It's like Richie said, we need more fight nights, we need more promotions. I don't know about promotions because it seems that there's a lot of promotions that are just trying to achieve too many personal goals, and I think that's what Richie was kind of saying, is that there's too many overnighters, you know what I mean, looking for a quick buck, and some of it is actually going to be detrimental to the industry on the whole
100%.
at the end of the day. So
I think just to go on that point, and I mentioned Richie's comment earlier, and it stuck with me, but you got to get in. You got to get into this if you want to become a promoter. And you're expecting to make money.
Yeah,
then maybe you should rather go and promote. I don't know.
ice hockey.
Well, I don't know if ice hockey will make money. I don't know. Go and promote the bloody Joburg Ballet or something like that, because I can tell you now that it's a hard place to be, and it's a hard place to make money. And I know the facts, and everyone talks about this one and this one's making. And you look at when people come to our shows and they look, but you've got 1,000 people here, and they do the calculations, 150 rand, and then it's not where it needs to be with regards to any business dealings. And that's the thing, is that at the end of the day, the new promoters that are coming in and going, we'll clean up because it's easy. Look how easy it is. You throw a cage in the middle, some chairs around, put a hi-fi in there, play some walkout music, and let the oaks go. Yeah. And it's not right, because like you say, they're overnighters, and they go and they disappear and they come back, and the problem is as well is that the fights that they put on and the competition that they're doing is it's bad for the sport. It needs to be more controlled, in my opinion, with regards to who fights and where they fight. But you can't say that, because everyone just thinks you're greedy and you want the best for that, and it's not that. And that's why we decided we were going to do smaller events, because we need to make sure that we're building talent. There are athletes in our amateur ranks that I do phone and say, you'll be on every single one of my cards. Trust me. Do not go anywhere. Because they are talented athletes, and that's what I'm looking for. There are athletes that I will fight. If they phone me 2 days before a fight start and tell me they're ready to fight, I will find them a fight. Because I believe that they are the future of this game. There are athletes that don't want to fight at Fight Stars. You know, they want to go and fight somewhere else because maybe they don't feel welcome, or they think the platform's not big enough, or they don't like the way we do things. And it's hard. We're not perfect. We're learning as well. And the best thing about the MMA industry is there's no blueprint. You know, there's no MMA for dummies or maybe there is in exclusive books. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. But there's no one that can tell me what is right and wrong. I listen, and I listen to a lot of the guys on social media, and they'll have a go because the EFC's offering this guy a title fight, and it's like, well, he doesn't really deserve it because of X, Y, and Z or whatever. And it's like, who wrote those rules?
Yeah,
who wrote them? The fans sitting on their chairs. You know, matching fights is a tough job, and fights fall apart all the time. And you know, whether it's the EFC, whether it's Fight Stars or whoever, we are always scrambling to put fights on because that's the nature of the beast. You know, I know that I can tell you now that fights are falling apart left, right, and centre for the March cards. For my, luckily not for Fight Stars, but for EFC. From my experience, it's one of the hardest things you can do because all of a sudden you're scrambling to find fights, and it's a tough job. And that's the thing, is that when people want to do, and you call them the overnighters, when they want to put on a promotion, they just say, hey, so what do you weigh? You weigh 94. Cool. Let's put you on. I got an oak. He's 96. That's awesome. Let's fight you.
Sure.
Okay, how many fights you had? You know, where are you from? What gym are you from? Because it all makes a difference. If you're training at Fight Fit Militia and you're training at some garage gym in Krugersdorp, you're not the same athlete. Even if you're 0-0, you're not the same athlete. And that's what you've got to look at. And that's what doesn't build the sport in my mind, because you lose the guys that are coming into it and things like that. And matching makes a big difference.
No, absolutely. It's very easy to sit on the outside and say he should fight him. He's good on the ground. He's good at stand up. He's this. He's that. It's easy to do, but in reality, you've got to consider a lot of things. I mean, you've got to consider what's good for the promotion, what's good for each fighter, what's good for this particular fight card, what's good for this current circumstance, you know, and there's a lot of factors involved. Everyone thinks that MMA matchmaking is just a matter of styles, and let's see which style is the best. We've evolved from that, you know what I mean? We're in a different criteria now. There's a lot of things happening, and it's, I mean, like you were saying, like your co-main with Marcel Els now and Gonzalez it's a roll of the dice, if we're honest, because for either one, what wins, what's next?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What happens then? One of them, whoever wins that fight, in essence, is going to need a step up in talent. So, you know, you could have hung on to that fight for another 2-3 cards, let's say. Let them both notch up another 1 or 2 maybe. So it's brave, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't see that.
It's Fight Stars, not braver.
Yeah. So it's a brave move from you guys, you know, because quite comfortably you could have hung on to it, but it's
the thing is, for me, is that you know, I learned from the amateur stakes. There were fights that I wanted to make that I thought, well, let's do this and this, and then the guys buggered off to the pro ranks.
Yeah.
And I never got to see that fight, and it irritates me because, you know, there's a lot of fights that I want to see in my mind that I'll never get to see, you know, unless they're in the bar at the same time and I can manage to cause enough cuck and they get stuck into each other. But so my philosophy has always been about, let's put the best fight on at that present time and at that moment. Something will happen. You know, what's the plan? I'll tell you what the plan is. The winner's going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's the plan. You know, the loser will also go to the World Cup, but the winner will go ahead will get chosen first. It's a massive fight for these guys. These guys signed up to Fight Stars to go and fight internationally. This is the fight. And isn't that what sport is about?
Sure.
Isn't that what it's about? It's about putting your best out there. What's the point of having a gimme fight? And there are gimme fights out there, trust me. There are gimme fights. But I can tell you now that from my card in my head already, for my undercard already, I've got 3 fights that I've already matched. I matched them last year in December on our December card, and I phoned the guys and I said to them, I want the one guy is a youngster from Tap Out and he lost. But I think he's great. Sure. I really think, and it was his first fight. And he's fighting against a guy that won at his next fight. And I think he'll beat this guy. But I don't know. That's what the beauty is. But those are fights that you put together that you want to see. You want to see this guy. You want to see. I think he's great. I really do. And maybe I'm wrong. But if he wins, I'll be right. And then we'll test him again. For me, the whole sport, and especially MMA, is about being tested. Is about being pushed to your limits. You know, when we were at World of Warriors and that, and we were looking for fights for our guys, we used to say, you know, why would we take an easier fight? And there's no easy fights, but there are easier fights. Why would we take an easier fight? What does it give us? A win. Cool. We need to be tested. We need to be fighting against the best every single time, and that's what it should be about. In my opinion, you should be wanting to fight the best oak in your division or the best guy at your level. So if you're in featherweight and you've only had 1 fight or you've had no fights or 2 fights, you should know who you want to fight. And that's what surprises me about a lot of the guys, is that they don't actually know the amateurs.
Yeah.
They don't. And I'm not talking about the fans. I'm not talking about the spectators. I'm talking about the fighters themselves and the club, the coaches and that. They don't actually know. There's very few guys that know. When I phone them and I say to them, I want you to fight Pete Pompey's from this gym. Ooh, you know, what's his strengths? Okay. His strengths are mixed martial arts, you know what I mean? He's got good stand-up. He comes from this gym, you know? Okay. They should be watching and they should be working out in their heads who and what and where they are. Who do they have to beat in order to be the next champion? And that's what I would be doing, or that's what I've always done, is who's next in line.
You see, that's also one of the big things that will change from streaming your show, is that it's accessible to everybody.
100%.
So all of a sudden you're going to have a scenario where guys can build tape on fighters for amateurs, you know what I mean? And that's just that little bit of extra,
100%.
You know, professionalism from an amateur, learning to do things like that. Coaches and teams learning to study opponents thoroughly because they'll have the tape.
100%.
So it's all part of it. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think, especially for amateurs, there's not always the means. They can't be at every show. They can't be here. They can't be there. So they haven't always maybe had the means. So they're going to have a little bit of extra push now to go and watch the streaming if they can't be there live. Check out their weight division. See who's the main boy there. See what's going down. You know what I mean? So that streaming changes things. It makes a big difference.
Change things. For me, you know what? I'm crazy competitive. I mean, I'm terrible. I know I'm terrible, but it's what I would be doing, and you say they you know, the guys are there. I watch them at my shows. I watch them. The teams are there. They don't pay attention, and that's the beauty about. There are gyms that do it, and those are the top gyms. Let me tell you, they know who they're fighting. They know who they want to fight. They know the names of where they want to do it, and that's what makes you more professional. Just because you're fighting as an amateur doesn't mean you can't be a professional athlete in the sense of the way you act. And I think that's will only develop our level of athlete as it goes through. You do it when you're a pro, and that's. I mean, I had this conversation last night. The guy wants to turn pro, and I'm like, well, why? No, I want to make money now. Okay, but you're not going to make money out of fighting.
Yeah,
not now. You may as well carry on learning because you've got a lot of time. No, I want to make money. You know, I train hard. I want to make money. Okay, I'm not going to argue with an athlete if he wants to go pro. You know, you spoke about Shane Carr earlier. I agree with him 150%. Do I tell everyone to stay amateurs? Not at all. It's not my decision. You know, would I like everyone? Do I think they should? Yes, I do. I think they should stay amateurs until they've fought every single oak that they could possibly fight. I think they should fight on every single promotion that they can possibly fight on. I think they should get so much experience, because once you turn into a professional, once you turn pro, there's no going back. And there's a big difference between pro and amateurs.
Change my mind. Want to go back?
You want to go? No, they do. Wow.
Sure.
When you fight pro, I can give you 3 fights a year.
Yeah.
When you fight amateur, if you wanted to, you could fight. If I look at that calendar, there's 3 promotions every month. You could fight every single month for a year.
Sure.
So now, what are you? Where are you growing? You're not growing. You're a professional athlete. But a lot of these guys want to become a professional athlete because it's the stigma that's evolved and things like that. And it's hard to say, because it depends on the athlete. It depends on where he is in his life, in his age, in his financial situation. We had guys that we turned pro at World of Warriors because they needed the money. They actually didn't have jobs. They had to become fighters to earn money. So, yes, go and fight pro then. You know what I mean? But then you become a prize fighter. You're actually just fighting for that. So, yeah, it's a big thing going from amateur to pro, and it is a big step up. And should you have a lot of fights? I believe you should fight. I believe you should fight as often as possible. I really do.
Thai style, 500-0.
Yeah, why not?
100%.
Why not?
Okay, cool, Grant. So let's just on Facebook, Fightstar. The event is out as a Facebook event now.
Yeah.
Fightstar 22.
Yeah, tickets at CompuTicket. We have pre-sold quite a few already.
Cool.
So we're expecting a big crowd this time, and again, we just need the guys to get out there and start supporting. It is going to be a big card. It is going to be a really exciting night. And I think I must tell you, I think the Steven Gonzalez Marcel Els fight is going to be crazy. I think Jean Libber and Giovanni, I'm absolutely licking my lips at that. Sure. I think it's going to be insane. These oaks they're going to stand and trade, and they're going to put on a show. It's going to be insane. And I like Nkosi. He's a great little athlete. He's got a huge talent. But he's fighting a monster. I mean, Albert Stein is a monster.
Yeah.
Kevin Kukumur and Dwayne Meredith. That's 5 fights that. Please, come on. They could sell tickets anywhere. And that's just the start.
There's a heavyweight title,
a featherweight title. Okay. Yeah. So there are 2 ladies fights at the moment. Team Angola's coming back. That's another fight that I'm looking for. Edison, who beat Scott at the last Fightstar, is fighting Stephen May.
Okay.
At this one in welterweight, which is a massive fight for Stephen, and he's angry and he wants to. He doesn't believe he should have lost. He lost to the fight to Scott. He's got a lot to prove, and he's really, 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 really. It's going to be an exciting fight. So. Yeah, man. There's good fights. There's really, really good fights on that card, and I'm just trying to think in my head now, as I go through. But there's some exciting stuff.
Sure.
There's some really exciting fights, and like anything in fight stars, the undercard is where the action starts.
Where the magic happens.
And it's leading up to the main card. The main card's done now. It's all tied up. There might be one surprise coming into the main card, which we'll
wait and see.
We'll wait and see. I don't want to say anything because I don't know if it'll happen or not. And I don't like to say, "Oh, we're going to do this," and then everyone waits for me, and nothing happens. 100%. So if it does, it's going to be crazy. If we can pull it off, it'd be great.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll try and keep everyone updated.
I need to get back here, so I don't want to tell you everything in one interview.
Sure. All right, cool. Well, that's it. So everybody that's listening, just go check out Fightstar. You'll find the event on Facebook. Tickets at CompuTicket. It's going to be a bit of raucous action for the night. It's entertaining fights throughout the card. In my experience, it's nice to see the junior amateurs, and all the way through. It's always good fun, and it's a good show, and it's a very warming show. It's it's like everyone knows each other. It's very family orientated, and it's cool. And yeah, Grant, just good luck for everything, man. You guys are doing good stuff. Don't listen to them and fall victim to all the bullshit. Just keep going, because I think you guys have got a massive role to play, and it hasn't even begun yet, to be honest. I think we